Hello, I'm doing Tiny Epic Tactics again. This is quest number 2 for me. I'm trying to get all these crystals that are underneath these three-dimensional terrain pieces before that timer runs out. My opponent here is going to try to either capture all my guys or hold me out so I can't get the crystals before the timer runs out. So far, my beast character has entered that dungeon up at the top right, and I'm moving my wizard. I'm going to explain the cards more too as we go through on this one. Next move will be with my fighter. The game setup is fairly simple. What I do is I shuffle all the fighter cards into a pile there, and I pick two. I choose one of them for my own character, and I flip the card over and use the opposite side for the enemy opponent. Same thing goes with the beast, the rogue, and the wizard. I went to put my fighter there into that dungeon underneath, but because I have the wizard on top of that, I can't flip that terrain. So I used that as a portal instead and moved him across. What I'm doing now is drawing a tactic card. I get 2 of them every turn. If I get more than 2, if I end up having 3, I have to discard down to 2. Very quick note, blue is the enemy, red is me. Now I'm drawing my monster tactic card, and I reference the top left corner, and it tells me that the beast is going to be activating. Forgive me, I'll probably butcher some of these names. He's Rockwinder. He has Iron Stance, which means he cannot be knocked back. He has a base attack of 5, plus that boost card. The monster card gives him plus 3. He's already doing 8 damage, so we're just checking to see if I do any knockback. And just like that, he puts 8 damage on my fighter. My fighter now will counterattack him. At first I put it on the wrong character, but then I do fix it. I do put it back on the beast. And before my fighter leaves, her card is Umag. She has Frenzy. She may take 2 attack actions on her turn if she does not move. I really didn't want to move her because she does have that Frenzy special attack. But I had to move her through that village in order to gain 4 more health and to replenish all of her ammo. I want to use her again, so I have to put a weaken token on her. That's any time I take 2 actions with a character. In order to remove that weaken token, she'd have to take 2 more damage. I'm rolling the dice to see if I expend any more ammo. Any of those little dice that would have a green symbol on them would make me expend 1 more ammo per symbol. I'm going to move my Prince Orn here. He has a couple abilities. First one is for his mana attack, or a spell attack, using mana, he has Energy Bolt. He can target, takes 2 damage. Then he has Chain Lightning. During Energy Bolt, deals +1 damage per mana to all enemies within 3 of Prince Orn. I put him up on a peak. That way I actually can attack anyone on the map. That being the peak's terrain ability. And I should probably note here, I think that would cost me +1 to enter into a peak. The enemy's turn, I pull the wizard card. That gives them +2 damage on a spell attack. That's Luna. She has vines. All targets in or adjacent to water or forest space take 1 damage, +1 damage per mana rolled on the die. She's going to roll 2 mana. And she also has stun. Targets of vines cannot counter. She'll roll 2 dice. Any blue mana symbols that she gets on those dice will add to her damage of the attack. With that 2 boost, she's going to do 3 damage to anybody in or adjacent to water or forest. Now it's my turn. I'm going to use my wizard, Prince Orn, here, and because he's up on that peak, he can attack any enemy unit on the map. I'm going for that beast. Choose to give him another action here, and that weakens him, but I want to get into that top dungeon to get a crystal. It's the smallest one in the map, so it should be fairly quick in and out. That's the purple crystal of healing. The capture bonus for that one is all allies heal 2 health. I'm also playing the tactic card Give It Your All. If you weaken an ally this turn and you already had at least one other ally weakened, then immediately cure weakness from all allies. Umag's going to do her frenzy attack against the beast. Does 2 damage each time. Just a quick note, I should have rolled twice for ammo usage there with Umag. I would have rolled 3 dice, and any greens I would have got would have taken more ammo away. But I do move through a village real quickly and would have boosted that back up. I drew another wizard card for the enemy turn. Since the wizard's already been used, I used the leftmost character, which is the fighter. That enemy unit's Hladvir. His special ability is he's got Bearded Axe, whether he makes a melee or a missile attack. When countering, he deals +1 damage. His boost card gives him all damage +1. I'm figuring which unit he would be closest to, and in this case, because the enemy card tells me east, I go with the rogue. After moving, I check to see if he has a adjacent melee attack or a ranged missile attack. His missile attack's only 3, so it falls just short. I move my wizard back up to the peak so I can use a spell attack on any enemy unit. That's just enough to take out the beast enemy unit. That'll also increase my time by 2 on the time tracker. Now I'm going to use my fighter to move into that dungeon. Adam passed through that village before doing so in order to replenish his ammo and to give him 4 more health. I have to place a new beast enemy unit. I do that by first selecting its starting area by randomly shuffling these little flag tokens. That'll tell me what starting area he'll be at. Then I'll use a enemy card to tell me where he'll be adjacent to, because the wizard there is on top of the starting space. I'll also shuffle the enemy beast unit cards. off to the right there, and I'll choose a random one, and that will become the new beast. This one comes in with full health, and it's a new beast enemy unit. I draw the fighter card, but since the fighter's been used, it's the leftmost unit, which is that new beast. He's Lord Theodoff. He has an ability called Feral Slash. During a melee attack, all enemies other than the target within 3 range of him take 1 damage. He also has Stun. Enemies that are not the primary target of Feral Slash cannot counter. He has movement of 6, plus that boost card there from the enemy is going to add +2. He has a melee damage of 4 with 3 knockback dice. Does 2 knockback on my wizard, which actually pushes him to the end of the map and does 1 additional damage to him. Prince Orn counters with an energy bolt and does 2 damage back to the beast. Choose to add more mana to my counter attack there, and I do 1 more damage to him. My beast is going to continue its movement through this dungeon. The green symbol that I just went over there, I have to roll 3 dice, and if I roll any arrows or missile symbols on that, which are green, he takes 2 damage per missile symbol. That green's a trap symbol. Now I'm rolling for cave in. I have to roll my knockback dice, and I have to roll red knockback in order to continue my movement, or else I would have lost 2 movement. Now I've come across the monster. That's monster symbol has me draw a random monster from the monster deck. I reference the bottom of the card. This one, a troll. You take 3 damage. Unless you have at least 4 melee, then you take 2 damage instead. My fighter continues his movement, and he comes across the monster spider, which says take 1 damage and your movement ends here. So that's a quick turn for the fighter. I'm going to use my rogue here. I believe that's Neely Songheart. She has a couple specials to choose from. She has Inspire. After moving, allies within 2 range are cured of weakness. Or she has Taunt. After moving, choose 1 target within 2 range. They are now weakened. I choose to weaken the enemy fighter there. Now she'll do a ranged or a missile attack on her. Does 2 damage, and I have to roll 2 dice to see if I use any more ammo. I do use 1 more. An enemy fighter will counterattack my rogue. He does 1 less damage because my rogue is in a forest space. But he also takes 2 more damage because he was in a weakened state prior to taking that counterattack. If an enemy unit ever has less than 3 life, they won't counterattack. It's the enemy's turn, and they draw the leftmost card, which would become the rogue. And in this one, it has a boost of climb. The rogue is going to attempt to climb to a higher elevation, no matter what she does in this turn. Since that terrain to the right is a dungeon spot, it's not considered elevated terrain anymore. She'll make a missile attack on my wizard. That is Nim, and he or she has piercing shot. Deals +2 damage if a target is 4 or 5 range away. Other than that, it would do 2 damage normally. I'm going to grab that crystal. That's the Crystal of Plenty. Capture bonus. All allies replenish their ammo and mana to full. Beast also continues his move and grabs the Crystal of Might. Its capture bonus. You may select an ally to perform an attack or cast a spell. Now my beast hit the fighter here. My beast here is Skeeth. He has Gore. His knockbacks always have at least one knockback in addition to any knockback rolled, even if none are rolled. And he rolls 3 knockback dice. Pushes the fighter over the edge. Checking to see if the enemy fighter would be able to counterattack, and he cannot. I'm going to use my wizard to perform an energy bolt. I'm going to do it on the beast because I know he can't melee me back with a counterattack. That good mana roll helps me do chain lightning, which will also do damage on the rogue too. And the beast cannot counter because he is melee only. All the enemies have taken an action, so I'm going to take these cards and discard them all and start redrawing from the enemy deck. This enemy card's for the rogue. The boost is +3 movement. The closest unit would be my fighter. It does a 2 damage missile attack. My fighter cannot counterattack because he's just out of range. I have to add +1 for that elevation. My wizard was going to attack the rogue, but that wasn't going to do enough damage to it, so I chose to attack the beast instead. That takes him out and gives me 2 more time. I'm going to use my fighter to move up and attack the enemy rogue. There'll be a melee attack. Rolling for knockback. Unsuccessful. No reds were rolled. Nim there, the enemy rogue, will make a counterattack on my fighter, doing 2 damage. The enemy beast unit has to be replenished, so I'll randomly choose a card here. That gets Zing Mao. He has a what is this? Kai block. When countering, target is weakened. He also has stealth, so he cannot be countered. Using the flag tokens brings him to the purple starting point. I ran out of cards in the monster deck, so I have to reshuffle there. I get the wizard card. It's going to add +2 damage to a spell attack. Luna has that special attack, remember, Vines, that hits anything in or adjacent to forest or water spaces, which is pretty much my whole entire army except my wizard. She rolls 2 mana on a dice, which boosts this whole attack to 5 damage. Takes out my fighter. Move my wizard back up to that peak, but I want him to go through that village first so I can gain my 4 health back and replenish all my mana. I move my beast down to make a attack on a fighter. That takes him out. Adds 2 to my time. Now that new enemy fighter is Lalithar. He has Light Hammer. After performing a melee attack, all enemy units, only of his color, heal 1 health. And pulling the orange flag token, he would spawn at the starting area of the orange zone. The enemy card is for the beast. The boost is to add 3 damage to the melee attack. Figuring out which unit is the closest unit. It's going to be the rogue. Add +1 for the movement into the water. I do 7 damage, -1 for the forest space, but still not enough to save Neely. She gets captured. My wizard will make a spell attack on the rogue. Enough to do damage to take out Nim. Gonna add 2 more time. I'm going to take a weaken token because I want to do a move action with him. Got to replenish that enemy rogue unit. That is the Red Ghost. His abilities: when he does melee or a missile attack, he has poison. Target is weakened. He also has Bloodlust. Before poison, deal 3 damage, plus 3 damage if the target is weakened. I draw the Wizard monster card. The Wizard's already been used, so I use the leftmost unit, which is the Fighter. He will have plus 1 damage to all damage during this turn. That's his boost from that card. My Wizard's closest to him, so he will go that way, and he has only a range of 3, just falling short of attacking the Wizard. Take advantage of a tactic card called Discover a Hot Spring. If you end an ally's movement in a water space, then immediately restore that ally to full health. I only have 2 units left. If I use the Wizard again, he's going to have to take damage for his weakened token, which I choose to do. I need to try to get him to that starting space because I have another tactic card that will help me. I choose to have him go through that village on this turn because that'll give him 4 more health. Monster card I pull is leftmost and climb. That goes to the Red Ghost, which is the rogue character. He's going to attempt to just get to higher elevation this turn, and he's too far away for any type of a missile attack, so that would end his turn. I put that Wizard in a starting area because I have Recruit a Comrade. If you end the movement of an ally on any one of the spaces that a player had an ally on at the start of the game, then immediately draw a new ally card randomly. Must be a character type that you do not have in play. That ally starts with 4 health and full ammo or mana on an empty space adjacent to the ally that just moved. Brings back a fighter for me. That is King Glut. He has Smite, which weakens a target with a melee attack. He also has Scream. If he moves but does not fight, you may move an ally up to 2 movement for free, even if weakened. That Recruit a Comrade tactic card comes in handy at this point because I only had 2 units. Now having 3, I'm going to use this fighter, the King Glut that just came out, to move. I thought about going into that dungeon, but since there's an enemy fighter on top of that 3-dimensional terrain, I can't go in there. So instead I'll just move him forward. It's time to discard all the enemy cards. They've all been used once. And draw a new enemy card. That one is for the Rogue. Adds 3 to his missile attack. 3 damage to the missile attack. Sights in the Beast because that's probably the closest unit to him. He'll move. Has a range of 4. It's just short. Thankfully, that would have done 5 damage. Down to 4 time, and I still got to pick up 3 crystals here still to win this game. I've only got 3 units. Use the Beast. Move them up in elevation there. Fighter's going to come in from the other side. Fighter will do a melee attack on him. He does 3 damage. Then he has to roll 2 knockback dice. We'll weaken him, though, with Smite. And now he'll counterattack with a missile attack on my guy. It'll be 2 damage for that one. Correction, that'd be 1 damage because my guy is in a forest spot and his is not. I'm going to proceed to move my wizard up to take that top dungeon up there in the left. I have to take that other wizard off, though, first. I did walk through a village space, so I went to back up 4 health. Switching out my tactic card here. This one is the ballista. If I can get to that square there I just pointed to, I can add an attack to it. Pull a card, and it's for the fighter. This card increases the fighter's range attack, which would be a missile attack, plus 2 damage. I think I debate that here, then I move him back, yeah, because he would have done more damage by just using a missile attack than he would coming forward. And actually, he would do a missile attack before he did a melee attack. The only time he'd do a melee attack first is if there was somebody adjacent to him at the start of his turn. He attacks me, and then I counterattack. His attack there would do 4 damage, and then my counter would do 3 damage. Unlike the enemy, though, I have to roll for ammo usage on mine, and I would take 1 less damage because my character is in a forest spot. Continuing with my turn, I get that wizard, move him back more. I'm trying to see if I can get him in a range attack there. I have to add 1 for that elevation. I'm going to weaken my beast because I want to do another action with him and do a melee attack against the enemy's fighter there. He will do an automatic 1 knockback, so I have to roll for the additional knockback. I get 2, which actually pushes him back into that other building, which gives him 1 more damage and enough to capture him. A new enemy respawns, a fighter. It's Gamelyn. He has the armor of Ogmore. He cannot be the first enemy unit captured and will remain at 1 health until another enemy unit has been captured. That's his special ability. And he spawns on that orange starting space because that's the flag that I randomly chose. Enemy card is the Beast. That'll give him plus 2 damage to his melee attack. I'm lucky here because he has a long way to move before he can even come close to any of my units. And since normally the beasts are only melee attack units, he cannot take a turn. Or he moves, but he doesn't attack. I move my fighter, and then I'm going to have to take 2 damage for the beast because I want to give him a move action, but he has a weaken token on him, so I'll do that. A little debating there, I choose to move my wizard up next to the other wizard. And I got lucky because I didn't pull a wizard card from my monster deck, or else she would have been able to attack me right away. Instead, I pulled a fighter. And this bonus for him is to give him +2 to his movement. Gamelyn goes adjacent to my fighter and does a melee attack of 4, which captures my King Glut. I'm back down to 2 fighters, or 2 units, and only 4 time left. I choose to use a spell attack here because my Chain Lightning and my Energy Bolt could possibly hit the fighter and the wizard. No success. I do the damage on Luna, their wizard. She would counter with a melee attack against my wizard. And she doesn't roll a red knockback symbol, so there's no knockback in that attack. I choose to give my wizard a move action after that, which gives him a weakened token. And now I'll perform an action with the beast. I just noticed I would have had a better advantage if I would have just given the beast 2 actions instead. He would have been able to move and then make an attack and just leave the wizard where he was. I have to shuffle a monster deck here to draw from. And it's going to be the Luna. It's going to be their wizard. And it's going to be the Climb card. She's going to attempt to try to reach higher elevation. That would kind of be a question I think I would propose to everybody. Would she just have stayed there and made the attack instead of trying to climb? Because after she moves, she can't hit anybody. Her missile attack is only for people that are adjacent to water or forest, or inside water or forest. That opens the ability for my beast to enter into that dungeon and try to claim another crystal. Lands on a monster space. The monster that comes out is a specter. Lose all mana. If you do not have mana to lose, you take 2 damage. After that, he successfully picks up the crystal. That crystal is the Crystal of Flight. The capture bonus, you may select any ally to move up to 7 movement. I have a choice here. I could have moved my wizard into the building there at the top and used that as a portal to come out of the other dungeon, and then used that to move into the bigger dungeon that I'm flipping over right now. But instead, I choose to move the beast. Well, the wizard card, that would give them +2 damage to a spell attack. Have to see if anybody's around a forest or water, which there is not. The beast is in a dungeon, and the wizard is not by forest. So instead, their wizard would move to try to attack. my final turn here. We need a lot of luck here to win because I'd have to take out a character in order to gain 2 more time. The beast is in a big dungeon. It's got a long ways to go. My wizard is my only ability to take out the other wizard, which does not do it. I come a little short of the capture. Not only that, but even after I complete this dungeon, I still have the final dungeon, which is the biggest 3-dimensional box on the map there. I believe I just walked over a trap space, and that was roll the 3 dice, and I do 2 damage to myself per green missile. And then I land on the monster space, which is a gelatinous cube. Roll 3 dice and take 1 damage for each icon roll that is not a green missile. Yeah, my beast couldn't take another action because that would be a double move action, which I can't do. I draw the wizard card for the monster turn. The wizard's already taken a turn, so it'd be my leftmost unit, which would be Gamelyn. He's going to move over and do a missile attack on my wizard for 2 damage, plus the boost would give him 1 more damage. Unfortunately, I fell a little short in this one. Came close. I got 4 of the crystals and was on my way to get the last one and move on, but couldn't do it. Anyways, this is Cynicer, the subpar gamer, reminding you to keep aiming for average. Thanks a lot.